Hey guys, Big Andrew here with a thought from the bench here in the home gym today. Just trying to spend some time with the family, trying to spend some time at the house. Thought I'd be home, and I really like it. When I get to train in my home gym. I also really like it when I get to train at the gym down the road at Victory Fit. Great place, and home's a great place. When I train at home, I get to train with my wife. She doesn't come to the gym with me. She likes to train at the house. And I do a lot of her programming for her. I love doing it. I really do. I love working out with my wife. It's a lot of fun. We almost never do the same workouts. Today for her was legs. For me, it was arms and shoulders. And kind of an analog day for me. For her, it was a hypertrophy squat day. And I like volume training for a lot of the stuff like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with power training. I love power training. I love that 2 to 5 rep range, that special kind of place there. You lift really heavy weights and you look cool doing it, and you're in there, you're squatting, a bus or whatever. I love that. That's so much fun. But you cannot neglect good volume training. And for her, volume training comes in the form of the right kind of sets and reps as it is geared to the weight. I will give you a for instance. Last week, she did a weight, 2 sets of 12 for her working sets of squat. 2 sets of 12 is 24 total reps. Plenty of reps. 2 sets of 12 is pretty good. This week, we upped it by 10 pounds. We're sitting right around 62%-ish, somewhere in there, of her her 1 rep max. Excuse me. So we're doing that. We're right at 62, 65% somewhere. And we did 3 sets of 8. Now, 3 sets of 8 is also 24 total reps. But we added 10 pounds to the bar. So she did 240 pounds more in the total amount of volume. This lies somewhere in the idea of rep manipulation, which is something that I've talked about in earlier podcasts. In the book I've written, A Rep Manipulation, called The Manipulation Game, available on Amazon and Kindle. And if you like, I can send you a link to it. I'm pretty proud of the book. I am planning on retooling it and updating it a little bit, but it is a good book. It also has some ideas from Westside Barbell's conjugate system. Recently, I reread the conjugate system book. There's a nice little, 8 chapters, whatever. Like, it's not a super big book, not really long, and it's not overly complicated. But there's a lot of scientific data and numbers in the book. Give you the history behind the conjugate system, all that stuff is in that book. It's a great book. If you haven't found it, you should pick up that book. Get my book, The Manipulation Game, about rep manipulation and building muscle without risking injury. And then get that book, the Conjugate Method, powered and popularized by Westside Barbell. Fantastic books if you want to learn how to build power and you want to learn how to build strength and volume training. But if you're trying to build hypertrophy with your volume training, I think the rep manipulation system is really good. I've used it on myself. I used it on clients when I was a trainer, and I use it on my wife right now, and I still use it on myself. I use some of it today, and I like to kind of mix the two. There's a lot of things in the Westside Barbell conjugate method that I had forgotten about. And I decided when I read this to be more careful this time going through it, underline things, highlight things as I went through. And I had to relearn some things in my training. Now, I read it over the weekend. I work night shifts on the weekend at a hospital. And when I have downtime, I read and do things like that. Because these are long, 12-hour shifts. So you have a little bit of downtime every once in a while overnight. And so I read this book and was highlighting and writing things down. I was also reading another book by another physical therapist about being injury free and stuff like that. And I'll talk about that book sometime later. But I have retooled some of my ideas when I went back to the gym yesterday. Yesterday being Monday. I got off at work, got home early Monday morning. I took a quick shower. I went to sleep for a few hours, and I went to the gym for a couple hours and got my squats and deadlifts in the same day. Now, doing squats and deadlifts in the same day is something I've done off and on for years. It's not new to me, and it's not new to anybody who's familiar with the conjugate system or powerlifting in general. A lot of people do it. I decided I was going to throw it in and just pick it back up, but do it the more conjugate way. Now, I was sick all weekend. I was sick all weekend. It was really bad. I don't know if I lost any weight over the weekend, but I know I wasn't able to eat a whole lot and keep it all in my system, if you know what I mean. And I had a hard time, not only with that, but staying hydrated and everything and getting enough rest. I was wiped out come yesterday morning. So I didn't go as heavy as I probably could have doing conjugate yesterday. But I had to learn these new methods, and I was doing it, and I'm sore today. I haven't been this sore in a long time from just a solid workout. I only did 4 exercises: squat, deadlift, leg press, and I did some planking at the end. That's what I had time for to do, but that's what I did, and I'm sore today. I am really sore today. I really enjoyed the workout. It was tough. It challenged me. Man, am I sore. One of the things in that book that Louis Simmons, the man who was the founder of Westside Barbell, he's the guy who wrote the book, The Conjugate System, died a couple of years ago. Was a legend in strength athletics and really athletics in general, but strength athletics, powerlifting. One of the things he said that rings very true is adaptation is the killer of progress. The idea behind the conjugate system is to never have a chance to adapt because you're changing and modifying stuff every single week and doing these 3-week blocks of exercises and then reevaluating at the end of 3 weeks. When I was training people and I had clients on a regular basis, one of the praises that I got from these people was, you never do the same workout twice. You're working the same muscles, but you see progress because you're not doing the exact same workout twice. You're making small changes from week to week. And that was something that I was already doing. And then I read about what Louis Simmons said, and I was like, well, I'm glad I was right about this. But the idea of adaptation being the killer of progress, meaning if you adapt to an exercise, you're going to stagnate. You could overtrain, you could get hurt, you could just stagnate. Your squat's never going to go up, your deadlift's never going to go up, your press is never going to go up, your sprint time is never going to get any faster. Whatever, it's not going to get better if you don't overcome the things that will cause adaptation. And that rings true in so many things, not just athletics and fitness. Adaptation is the enemy, the absolute enemy of progress. We have so many, and I have a lot of thoughts on these things, so I'm not going to spend all this time on it. We have so many different complexes in humanity, industrial complexes, health and wellness complexes, and these different ideas. You could say, there's these concepts of all this stuff out there. The big, medical pharmaceutical complex of the hospitals and the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors who are just doing what they're told, all this stuff. There's a lot of problems with that. There's a lot of problems with different industrial organizations and ideas out there, stuff like that. There's all kinds of issues. It's one of the drawbacks of capitalism and free market is that you can create things to manufacture a problem to fix. I love capitalism. Capitalism has built this country. Capitalism is going to continue to build this country. Capitalism gives me an opportunity to start my own business and to fail or to succeed on my own terms. You don't just get that everywhere else. This is the way I want to do it. I'm going to start my business the way I want to do it. I love that about capitalism. You will not find that in other things. But it's got its own problems. And the problems with capitalism becomes when people try to develop monopolies or manufacture a problem that doesn't exist so they can create a solution that doesn't really have to be. And then we adapt to it. So we've got a bajillion medications out there for different things. This antidepressant isn't working? Well, why don't you add 2 or 3 more? Take a whole crap ton of antidepressants. If you're not losing weight with this, why don't you take these injections too on top of that? And hey, diet and exercise is always a good idea to add to these things to make sure it works. Why don't you just diet and exercise in the first time? Your doctor is telling you, hey, take these pills. Your doctor's a drug dealer. He's not trying to help you. Now, maybe he's unwitting. Maybe he's like, you know what? These medications would really be help to you. I want to help you. And he's a kind-hearted, he's a good person. There's nothing wrong with that doctor. He's just doing what he's been told. But he's selling you pills that you don't need. And we are adapting to it as a society saying, you know what? We should take these pills. It's not helping anybody. It's not. You know, they created cars that will parallel park themselves because it's so much easier. So people don't know how to parallel park because the car parks itself. We have the cars, what do they call it? The crab walk, where it turns the wheels and goes, into the side. That stuff is ridiculous. It's crazy. I talked to a guy one time who lives near me, and he was driving 2 states away to go compete at a Spartan race or something like that. A big one, some big thing. And it's going to be several hours to get there, somewhere like 3.5, 4 hours, 5 hours to get there from where we are. And his truck would practically drive itself. So his plan was to download a couple movies onto his phone or his iPad and have that playing while he was driving, quote unquote, to this other place so he could kind of watch it while his truck drove itself. It's not safe. I don't care how good your truck is at driving itself and how it can sense the car in front of you or whatever like that and all this different driver's assistance stuff. I mean, it's great that it's out there for safety and stuff like that. Hey, it's a great innovation, but we've created our own problem by not teaching people in the first place how to be responsible adults and to drive properly. All these issues that we just create, and it makes people lazy. And we begin to adapt to it. We say, hey, I like that. I like that idea. I like this, and then it'll do this, and then it'll do that. It's great. Technology is great. I'm yelling at you over a phone right now. When I was a kid, I'd have to have a video camera standing here plugged into the wall. I'm on a phone right now yelling at you about this on a tripod in the middle of my garage. I mean, that's pretty cool. But all that we do and all that we end up adapting to is going to end up hurting our progress in the long run. Adaptation is the enemy of progress. It is the killer of progress. It stifles progress. And when we adapt to things, we hurt our own progress. Buy the car that parallel parks. But don't forget how to parallel park. Don't. Your doctor thinks you need prescription medication to take care of your cholesterol or whatever. You know what? That's between you and your doctor. Do your own research, though. Don't just take his word for it. How on earth is it that we have these supercomputers in our pockets that can record podcasts like this, full of information for anything we want, but we waste time looking at cat videos when we could be researching the stuff that the doctor was just telling us about. So we could form our own opinions, not just say, oh, well, he went to some kind of big medical school, so I'll just take whatever pill he says. You know what? Maybe stop eating the friggin' McDonald's every once in a while, and your cholesterol will be better. All right? Hey, why don't you walk away from the pizza buffet now and then, and maybe you won't need Wegovy. Hey, why don't you do your own research and find out that Diet Coke isn't any better for you than regular Coke? Just drink water. You buy this cup one time, and then you put water in it. The water is essentially practically free. And you bought the cup one time. You paid one time for the cup. And look, I'm not thirsty anymore. Not that hard. Stop adapting to all these other things. Grow. You are never, ever going to grow if you just keep adapting. There's my thought from the bench today. More of a rant, I guess. A rant from the bench. I'm just tired of seeing people not grow anymore. You need to grow. And you're not going to grow if you keep adapting to this stuff. What is it you're adapting to? What is it you've adapted to that's slowing your progress? Think about it. And then make a change.